If you're like every other person that's looking to leave whatever major city that you're in, whether it be Los Angeles, Denver, Austin, or even Tampa. Yes, Tampa, guys. People are relocating from Florida here. You're probably looking to relocate to either Albuquerque or Rio Rancho. And as somebody that was born and raised right here in Albuquerque, I have all the ins and outs. And in this video, you're gonna wanna take some notes because it's gonna get pretty fun. Whether you're looking to relocate to Albuquerque or Rio Rancho, there is gonna be some key differences that you're gonna wanna pay attention to, especially when it comes down to the cost of living and housing prices. Now, what I can tell you in the big differences is that Albuquerque is a lot older, so you are gonna get older homes here. Rio Rancho has only been around for like 15 minutes, and they got a ton of new homes, a ton of new communities, and all within an affordable price range. Now, a new home in Rio Rancho can go up towards like $450,000, sometimes even lower. On average, in Rio Rancho, you're gonna pay around $320,000 for a house. To where in Albuquerque, you're gonna pay around $350,000 just on the average, right? And there's some subtle differences. Of course, Albuquerque has all the amenities that you could possibly want and need. And Rio Rancho being more of that suburban type of living, you are gonna be on the outskirts. So you might have to drive a little bit if you wanted to go to like Costco or Sam's Club. Now, in hindsight, Rio Rancho has a ton of offer, guys, and it's only growing, right? Since Albuquerque's tapped out, more people are looking to move to Rio Rancho just because, number one, land is pretty cheap. I've had people purchase land out there for under $20,000, and you're looking at an acre. The only caveat is that you might have to build a well, and if you don't build a well, you're probably gonna have to haul water. But some people don't mind that, and if you don't mind that, then Rio Rancho might be for you. But if you're like, hey, the heck with that, Eli, I want to live in a community that has everything already set up, then there is a ton of great communities and we can help you discover those. But if you're looking to buy something new in Albuquerque, there's still that possibility, right? And you can purchase something under $350,000 brand new, all depending on where you're looking, and we can help you discover that as well. Now, the cost of living in both cities is pretty much the same, right? There's really no big difference. Although utilities and all that stuff may get a little bit more expensive in Rio Rancho just because they have a different provider than Albuquerque. So there's that. And it's not gonna be like a magnitude of difference, guys. It's really gonna be just like a couple $100 more living out there, just because I don't know if it's harder or whatever to get the utilities out there. Who knows? Just kind of keep in mind that you may pay a little bit more. Now, the only caveat that I have to living out there is that if you do live in like Mariposa, which is like the northeast side of Rio Rancho, way out there, you may have a 45-minute drive into Albuquerque if you ever needed to do anything here in the city, and a majority of the time you will. So keep that in mind. Look, if this is your first time tuning into the Living in Albuquerque channel, welcome. My name is Eli, and as somebody that was born and raised here, I will give you all the insights and all the details about living here in New Mexico. Now, if this is your first time, go ahead and hit that subscribe and notification bell down at the bottom. That way you guys never miss out on any kind of videos, because we are dropping videos just like this one here, talking about all the differences and insights of living in New Mexico that you're gonna want to know before you make the move down here. Now, as much as I love doing these videos, guys, I am also a licensed broker here in the state of New Mexico, and I'd love to help you out with your real estate needs. And that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. If you have any more questions, you want to know a little bit more about Rio Rancho and some specific homes, or the same with Albuquerque, I'd love to get in contact with you. And if you're not ready to do any of those and you're just trying to get some information, there's a link in the description down below to download a free relocation guide that has all the top neighborhoods, top restaurants, top things to do, and top things to expect when it comes down to living here in Albuquerque. In the whole retrospect of things, I want to bring up the topic of lifestyle and community feel when it comes down to living in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho, because there is some subtle differences. Now, of course, Albuquerque is a city. You're going to get all the amenities, you're going to get all the events, things to do, all that, right? And short commutes, you're talking about 15 to 20 minutes to get your groceries, just depending on where you live. Rio Rancho, kind of like that, but it's still super suburban. So you're gonna be on the outskirts, you're gonna have more openness to the whole vibe out there, you're gonna have bigger plots of land, and you are also going to get like this tight-knit community feel, because Rio Rancho hasn't been around for so long, just like I said in the earlier topic. What can you expect when it comes down to living in Albuquerque? Well, if you want more things to do, guys, if you want to just be able to really get to the grocery store like within a hop, skip, and a jump, this is gonna be it for you. If you work in Albuquerque and you just don't want a super long commute or deal with traffic, then you might wanna just pick Albuquerque. But if you don't mind all those things, you don't mind a quick drive, 30 to 45 minutes, you don't mind being on the outskirts, you do actually enjoy the peace and quiet, and you wanna be away from all the city life, Rio Rancho may be a good fit. And overall, the New Mexico lifestyle still is congruent in both cities. So you are gonna get that tight-knit community, you are gonna get the food because they have some great restaurants out there in Rio Rancho that we don't have here in Albuquerque. And you are also going to get more outdoor access because being out in Rio Rancho, you're gonna be closer to like Santa Fe, Jemez, Pecos, like really within an hour you can get to these places and just go for a quick day trip and have some fun out in the mountains. So if you're into all that, you may want to take some notes on like compare and contrast, and we can have a conversation when we get on our Zoom call or when you reach out through text. That way we can really narrow down specifically what you're looking for in a lifestyle. I brought this up in the last topic just a little bit, and what you're going to want to pay attention to on this next topic is the commute and the access differences that you get from living in Rio Rancho and Albuquerque. Now, Albuquerque, of course, you got I-40 and I-25, so it makes travel super easy, and you can pretty much just get to the freeway from any part of the city within like 10 minutes, guys. Now, when you do live in Rio Rancho, there's no real dedicated freeway system. Of course, you got 528 in Unser, which helps with that, but aside from that, guys, you are going to be traveling pretty far just to get on like some type of freeway when it comes down to living in Rio Rancho. So if you don't mind just traveling through regular roadways and city streets when it comes down to the whole grand scheme of moving, you're not gonna have any problems with Rio Rancho. In Albuquerque, there's so many ways to travel. Like the only caveat is that if you have to travel over the freeway during traffic hours, which is 7 in the morning and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you are gonna deal with traffic. Now there is a key secret to that. When you are traveling on the freeways early in the morning, if you're coming west at 7 o'clock, no traffic. And then it flips in reverse on the evening time. So pretty cool to see that, man, you're traveling and there's a bunch of traffic, and then on the other side where people are going the opposite direction, there's no traffic. So it really gives you a keen idea of where a majority of the people live, and majority of the people live on the west side because that's where all the major communities are. In the retrospect of things, is it a bother? Is it a big headache? Really not, because I talk to people that live in Rio Rancho all the time, and they say, yes, we do deal with our headaches when it comes down to traveling on 528 because traffic does get pretty bad there as well during those traffic hours. But outside of that, you're not sitting in traffic for like an hour and a half unless there is a wreck or there's some kind of anomaly that usually doesn't happen. So if you don't mind commuting, and of course, it doesn't matter whether you live in Albuquerque or Rio Rancho, you're still gonna wanna own a car. But if you don't mind the commutes and you don't mind the travel, you're somebody like me, you enjoy driving, then you're not gonna be worried about this topic at all. We're gonna talk about the growth aspect of both cities. Now, Rio Rancho, like I let you know, is growing, and it's growing pretty fast. Within the past 10 years, I've seen Rio Rancho just transform from a neighborhood in a suburban place that you just traveled to because you had family members out there to a place where you're actually going to visit, hang out, enjoy some restaurants, enjoy some cool things that they have going on out there. You really weren't doing that 10 years ago. So now that you're relocating to Rio Rancho or possibly Albuquerque, you're actually gonna find it more ideal to live in Rio Rancho if you do want that peace and quiet, bigger lots and more open space. Now, with Albuquerque, we're only getting better on our infrastructure. We're focusing on making what we have better. Not making more, not doing all these crazy projects, but we're actually focusing on what we have already to make it better. A lot of our infrastructure, roads, abandoned buildings, vacant buildings, the city's doing a great job of providing like affordable housing, making these roadways better, because if you live in Texas, you know that they tax you up the wazoo and taxes are only going up and the roads still suck. But here in Albuquerque, they're always working on the road, so you're always gonna deal with some headache of construction in a random place just because they understand that our roadways are super important because there's people just traveling and commuting on the daily. So we really try to make sure that whatever landscape that we have here in Albuquerque, we're just trying to make it better. So whether or not you want to live in a place that's growing, you enjoy that whole kind of like get in before the get in is good, you want to get a good deal on a house and you want to get in where you're seeing the place grow and you want to grow with this place, Rio Rancho is going to be it for you. But if you want to live in a place where things are just getting better, Albuquerque is going to be the best fit. And I keep saying best fit. What does that even mean? Well, really comes down to your wants and needs, and we can help you discover that by getting on a quick Zoom call. That number popping up on the screen is my direct line. Feel free to reach out at any time because I'd love to help you discover whether or not Rio Rancho or Albuquerque is going to be better for you. You know that I love being outside. So when it comes down to the differences in Rio Rancho and Albuquerque, Rio Rancho has some great outdoor access and amenities that you can enjoy. It's close to Jemez, it's close to Santa Fe, it's close to Pecos, Like really within an hour's drive, you can get to these great places. In Albuquerque, of course, those places are gonna be a little bit farther, but still not crazy far where you're gonna have to travel in traffic and all that stuff, and it's gonna be a pain in the butt just to enjoy these great things. Now, in Albuquerque, you are gonna be closer to the Sandia Mountains, you are gonna be closer to Bosques, you're gonna be closer to Rio Grande, and all these walking and hiking trails that are tucked away in the communities. And really, guys, you can walk to these places to where in Rio Rancho, you're actually gonna have to drive. Not the case in point all the time, because some of these communities are actually doing better about building hiking trails that are easily accessed through the communities. Just overall, Albuquerque has better access than Rio Rancho, in my opinion. So if you are an outdoor person like me and you do wanna enjoy the outdoors, you know, for a lunch break, you just wanna have a quick 5-minute drive to the Bosque or the Sandia Mountains because, I don't know, you just need a break and you need to get outside. Albuquerque is gonna be a better idea. Rio Rancho, of course, majority of the time you're gonna have to drive, but still, guys, they do have more openness to the whole thing because they don't have high rises, they don't got big tall buildings just blocking the Sandia view. So in Rio Rancho, you are gonna get a better bang for your buck, especially if you are wanting to buy a house for the views. All right, so I'm sure you got an idea of the differences between living in Rio Rancho and Albuquerque. Now, there is a lot more details that we can get into, and we can get into those details on whether Albuquerque is gonna be a better fit for you or whether Rio Rancho or some other place in New Mexico is gonna be a better fit by getting on a quick Zoom call. And that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. And if you're ready to do that, feel free to call or text me at any time. Or if you have any questions about certain areas, certain houses, or just a certain type of lifestyle that you're gonna get from one to the other, I'd love to help you discover that. Now, if you're not ready to do that, I've created a free relocation guide for you, and you're gonna learn all about Albuquerque, all the top neighborhoods, things to do, price points, population, like all of it, right? In great detail. So there's a link in the description down below. If you hit that link, you can go ahead and fill out that quick little form and we'll email you that link to download the relocation guide. So if you're interested, I'd love to get that to you. If you're ready to make the move, feel free to reach out. I got a ton of things to do because we're heading out to Jemez. You know, I talked about Jemez in this video a little bit, and we're gonna head out there for Labor Day weekend. You're watching this on the weekend after, so if you do have any questions about Jemez, you want to get some photos for me about to see how the different landscape looks from the high desert to being in the mountains, I'd love to get those to you. But we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.